Hello everyone, Artemu the Violet Wizard here, and today we are continuing The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And if things go as planned, this should be the final session of this game. Last time we went to the Spirit Temple and managed to liberate it, as well as the Gerudo leader Noboru from control of Ganondorf, thus granting us our final medallion out of the ones we were collecting throughout our journey. So yeah, we are pretty much in the end game of Ocarina of Time at this point. There's nothing more for us to do. We have gathered most of the items we need to fill up our inventory and all of our equipment. Took the liberty of quickly refreshing a couple of my things before starting the session. And I have also went to the potion shop, and I have replaced all of my other potions I had with blue potions, as these are just going to be much more useful to us going forward. So before we begin the end game stuff here in this adventure, I want to quickly show off that due to saving the carpenters at the Gerudo's fortress, they've managed to repair the bridge here across Gerudo Valley, allowing us to enter this section of the game much more easily. Hey, I heard you saved my men! When they returned, we built this bridge! Look at this! Isn't it a fine bridge? They may be wimpy carpenters, but once they all got together, they got the job done. Yes, they did. If there's one thing these guys know how to do, it's how to see a job through to the end. Without the old witches, the gang of thieves isn't all that scary. Well, I guess these guys have some new techs after you beat the Spirit Temple. I didn't know that. You did so great, young man. Thank you. Like I suspected, Noboru was brainwashed by Ganondorf's followers. Would explain a lot. Oh, it was Ganondorf, the evil king, who was behind the gang of thieves. That is right. Also, now that the bridge is fixed, we can talk to this fellow over here. I am the Wandering Running Man. I run over this land in search of true competitive spirit. I beat all my challengers, man and beast. You're an athletic guy, and you look like you might have a true killer instinct, too. Nah, that's a different game. Now that the bridge over Gerudo Valley is complete, I'm looking for a challenger to have a commemorative race against. The best time to go from here to the bridge in the Lost Woods was 2 minutes, 38 seconds. That's my record. Will you challenge my record? No, I will not. You'll never discover your killer instinct with that kind of attitude. So the thing with the running man here, you can challenge him to a race over to the bridge over in the Kokiri forest, but I don't recommend doing it. No matter how fast you get over there, he will always beat you by 1 second, and there is no real prize for doing it. It's just something that is in this game for the sake of being there, and it's honestly kind of lame. Which is a shame, because when we were a child, this guy was very helpful, getting us the Mask of Truth and also giving us a lot of money for our trouble, which was very nice, but in the adult portion of the game, he is really kind of worthless. Now that we got that taken care of, I want to head back to the Gerudo Fortress now that things are all safe here now. So I wonder if the Gerudos have anything new to say now that we have beaten the Spirit Temple. From now on, you're free to come and go, blah blah blah. Alright, just more of the same dialogue, it seems. You would think that they would have something new to say now that their leader is no longer brainwashed into serving Ganondorf, but whatever. What I want to do now is I want to talk to this lady over here. This the Gerudo's training ground. Membership card verified. 1 try for 10 rupees. Now that we've beaten all the main dungeons, I recommend taking this on. It is a very cheap price to get in here, and it's very worth it. Alright, I'll take your 10 rupees. Give it your best shot. And a best shot we shall take. It's the Gerudo Training Ground. This is pretty much an optional dungeon that can get you some interesting goodies. first thing you want to do is hit that switch over here in order to trigger some chests to appear here in the first room. We get a bundle of arrows that way, which could be helpful if you're kind of running low on arrows, which I obviously aren't. And we get 5 rupees here. So starting from the first room, we have 3 different pathways we can take here. However, I want to take the leftmost path. If you can overcome the trials in the chambers ahead, then and only then will you be qualified to hold our secret treasure. Ooh, treasure, eh? I definitely want that. Defeat all the enemies in a limited time. So got 1 minute in order to beat some Stalfos in this room. Shouldn't be too bad. We've already beaten plenty of Stalfos before. Come on, buddy. So yeah, all throughout this area, we have a bunch of challenges we have to do. And a lot of these challenges require various items that you are able to find in the various dungeons throughout the adult portion of the game. This is an area that I highly recommend not visiting until after you have beaten every dungeon. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to make it through here very easily. By being that guy, we managed to get a small key. So one of the main things we're going to be doing all throughout this dungeon is acquiring various things here. Gather the jewels of white while avoiding traps and danger. So yeah, beside that... Okay, there's something kind of interrupting here. I'll acknowledge that in a bit, but we're on a timer here. We got to get all the silver rupees in this room within the time limit. So I believe, yeah, there's a wall of fire there. So let's head over here to grab that one. This room is also a little tricky because we got these rolling boulders. And as you can note out here, there is also a wall master in here. So you definitely want to be careful to not let that thing grab you. Otherwise, you're going to be starting this whole area over again. Okay, there was no... there. And I believe the last of the silver rupees we can get... where is it? Actually, I think it is over here. Yep, there it is. Once we grab that one, the path will now be open to us. We can just hookshot past this firewall. Ow. Got singed a little bit, but that's okay. Alright, let me read what we got here. Yeah, that doesn't seem worthwhile here. Just give me a second. Alright, now that interruption is done, we're heading in here. Without the necessary items, one will be confounded by impossible mysteries. Got ourselves another challenge here, seeing the return of Wolfos in this room. Just all around this area, we got a couple of these guys to deal with. Not really that bad, all things considered. But if we go over here, we can see an elusive white Wolfos. Yeah, I was actually wrong when I said that these guys only appeared in the ice cavern. They do show up here in the Gerudo's training grounds. But I mean, this is a pretty elusive area, so you can't fault me for not realizing that. By beating all those guys, we are able to grab a bundle of arrows here. Wonder what that's for. One with silver hands shall move a giant block. That is correctamundo. So this is why I recommended doing this place after the Spirit Temple, because you will need to push this block to be able to go over here. But there is a barred gate over there, and we have one of these little bombable walls here. Let's very quickly want to equip the Lens of Truth here, because, that was a mistake. Set you down there. Just want to show that. Look, there is a little pathway here that we wouldn't have been able to see otherwise unless we had the Lens of Truth. And by doing that, that actually opens the way through here. So that's a neat little thing. It's going into this room. Oh boy, would you look who it is. Definitely equipping Bagoron's sword for this room. It's got a lot of likes. And you know how much what would the opposite of like be? Hate? But yeah, I despise these likes, so we're just gonna cut them all down with our big sword. Very nice. And by killing all the likes, that'll make some more chests appear in this room. First of all, want to grab this one at the top here and show that it's booby-trapped. Ugh. Nasty. So inside that one, we have a blue rupee. And then in this chest, if I remember correctly, that gets us a huge rupee. So yeah, remember when I said the reward for getting 100 gold Skulltula tokens was worthless? Yeah, this just continues to facilitate my opinion about that particular reward. They give you so many opportunities to get huge rupees in this game. It's almost not worth it to go for 100 gold Skulltulas, and I do mean that. Alright, so this room is a bit interesting. First of all, I want my Ocarina out, and then we're gonna get our bow. So over here where we have Navi floating, we're gonna quickly play the Scarecrow song. I can expect this will make a Buddy Pierre appear. It'll be very important for what we're going to be doing. Just jump down here, blind the eyes of the statue. It's got a new little archery challenge here. The statue where we have to shoot the eyes with our bow. It's honestly not that hard. I say missing one of the eyes completely. Alright, we'll get that one when we circle back around. This challenge really isn't too bad, as long as you don't run out of arrows, which I obviously won't. There we go. By shooting all of those guys, that will allow us to grab this chest, which appears. And inside you, we get another small key. Very good. Now shoot here, and since we have Pierre up here, want to hook shot our way up. There we go. And want to go through this door, which opens up, which gets us into this little area here, allowing us to grab another small key. Yeah, the main gist of this area is that most of the rooms here are going to reward us with small keys, which are going to be necessary for acquiring certain things. Also just wanted to make note that there is a hidden opening in that floor there that will be important to us in a little bit. So now, let's head this way. Alright, this room shouldn't be too bad. Find a secret passage in this room. Secret passage, eh? We are very good at finding secrets here. Just want to take care of these keys and torch slugs. killing all the enemies, that will open the way forward, and also cause a chest to spawn here. Now, what I want to do next is bring out our Megaton Hammer, as this will also be useful. So that makes a bundle of arrows appear. And we're just going to be smacking around some of these statues and see if we can find what we need here. It's going to be the last one we hit, isn't it? Well, almost. Setting that switch caused the fire to go out, allowing us to pick this. Another small key. Very good. So now we can move forward. Cross the sea of fire. Ah, boy. This room gave me quite a bit of trouble when I was practicing this a few days ago. So this room, we got some silver rupees that we need to collect. Also, there's a small key up on that ledge, which we are obviously grabbing in a little bit. This room can be a little harrowing, for we can see Navi floating around there, which is a good hint that we should bring out our Ocarina and play the Song of Time. Causing some blocks to appear, which will be very handy to us going forward. Okay, really misinterpreted that jump there. So this room is going to be made much easier with the hover boots, which we will be equipping in a little bit. Just want to be careful. Might as well grab this key while we're up here. Yeah, I don't know why it's just kind of hanging here. It's not really all that necessary, but it's okay. Alright, we can jump over to this one here. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and equip the hover boots. Alright, you can see that there is a switch over here. It's going to be very important what we're going to be doing. Let's get onto the switch. And that is going to cause the fire pillar that was over that one silver rupee there to go out. So now we want to very carefully maneuver here, grab the rupee, and then very quickly move over there so we do not get burned by the fire pillar when it returns. Oh boy. That's taken care of, so now we can just long shot over here and enter this room. Collect the underwater gems. Ah boy, we're going underwater now. So we'll get our iron boots ready. And let us play the Song of Time, as we can obviously tell from the blocks down here. Okay, the path is open now. We just need to drop on down. This little room can be a little tricky. We got a couple hazards down here. Between this little blade trap and some shell blades we have to deal with. Be a good idea to take out the shell blades first, so let's go ahead and do that. Hey, come on. Careful there. Guys aren't too bad. Alright, so all throughout this little room here, we have a couple of silver rupees to collect. It's like we saw before. Ugh. Okay, this isn't too bad here. Yeah, I guess something that will help is if you position yourself in just the right spot and then long shot with these platforms, and that'll allow you to grab some silver rupees here. Yeah, that seems to be one of the key ways to do this. And since we have that one up here, we can go ahead and slip into our Kokiri boots. And just want to ride the perimeter of this room so we can grab the last silver rupee. Woo! That wasn't so bad. I do like how this area does have you taking on several trials inspired by some of the previous areas that you have encountered, and usually putting a new spin on them, which is certainly interesting. Alright, so before we go further around here, whoop, careful. Because I don't have to worry about collecting the silver rupees at this point. Let's just go up this block here. So I want to show if we head over this way. This puts us into this area. So this is actually the central room of the dungeon, which has a few things for us here. If you desire to acquire a hidden treasure, you must strive to obtain the keys hidden in each chamber. So we open that chest, we can get some Bombchu, which is certainly very nice. I think around here would be good to have our Lens of Truth on. I just want to look around this area, make sure we're not missing any hidden things. This area does have a few surprises for us. We can grab a bundle of arrows over here. I know one of the things in this area is not really required, or, well, most of the stuff in this area isn't required, but I do want to try to show off as much as we can. There is a locked door that we could use our keys to get through, but at this point, I don't think it's going to be necessary. So if you want to get the main reward in this dungeon, you're going to need at least 7 keys. The game is thankfully generous enough to give you quite a few, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Defeat all the enemies in a limited time. So got yourself a new foe here, Dinalphos. Use your shield well and fight with Z-targeting techniques. Well, if they're asking me to bring out my shield, I might as well switch back to Master Sword. Also, might as well bring some Bombchu in for dealing with this guy. Alright, Dinalphos. These guys are pretty much stronger and more aggressive Lizalfos. This room can be pretty challenging to get through if you're not careful. You guys are pretty aggressive, but they also don't guard themselves like the Stalfos tend to, so it's not too bad. These enemies are also quite interesting because in another Zelda game that they appear, these guys have fire breath, which is certainly very interesting and sets them apart from some of the enemies we've encountered at this point. But in this game, they're just basically act like more aggressive Lizalfos. So with that, we have circled back into the main chamber here, but want to head in here through the central door. And so that we can go grab our big prize, we're going to want to take the leftmost path here. And grab a purple rupee from that chest, which is quite nice, but really not necessary at this point, especially with the gold rupee we got before. Is there anything around here? Like, I don't know the exact spot where the one thing is, but it's not going to be too useful to us here. And this chest, we can grab 20 rupees. Again, not really needed at this point. But we can open up this door now. So we're almost there. We got another chest, which contains some arrows. Alright, that's fine. Then we can open up this door. And then we can open this one. Which, look at that, we have the big treasure chest here. And by opening this baby up, what do we get? You got the ice arrow. Set it to C and your arrows will be powered up. If you hit your target, it will freeze. This arrow magic is granted only to those who complete the difficult training of the Gerudos, so use it with pride. Alright. Ice arrows. This is honestly probably the most worthless item in the game, I have to say. Like, it is interesting to gain elemental properties to our weapons, and we saw before in the last dungeon that the fire arrows could be very helpful, especially against the Anubis that were hanging around. But man, these guys really aren't that helpful in this game. Ice arrows, I'm pretty sure they do have the property where you could use them to do additional damage to certain enemies, but I believe the only enemies that they affect really good are fire enemies. Wow, I really cannot find the entrance here, can I? Weird. Well, there's another key that we'd be able to grab here by using the... just by looking around here and... Oh, there it is, actually. Wow, literally the first area could have gone through, right here. But yeah, ice arrows are just kind of useless, because at this point, you don't really have a lot of areas where you'd be able to use them effectively. And they have the same magic cost as the fire arrows, which, at this point, you would just be using the fire arrows if you're looking for stronger ammunition to use against enemies. So yeah, the ice arrows just kind of an afterthought in this game, where they're really not too helpful. They're not used for any puzzles. There's just no practical use to using these things. Which is a shame, because the next game in the series does use ice arrows effectively. And it's a darn shame that it took them a whole game to finally be like, oh hey, we can actually use ice effectively like this. Just very weird. But yeah, that's everything in the Gerudo's training ground. Pretty much only useful for getting the ice arrows, which again, are kind of useless, and for getting a couple extra rupees, which at this point we don't really need rupees anymore. So yeah, that's a thing. But that's pretty much the last little bit of content I want to do here in this game before we finally go and begin the end game. So in the last session, we were told by Varu to head to the Temple of Time, as there is someone waiting for us there. Let's do this. Brace yourselves for what's to come. I have been waiting for you, Hayden. A butt! Hayden, the hero of time. You have overcome many hardships and awakened 6 sages. And now you have a final challenge, a showdown with Ganondorf, the king of evil. Before that, I have things I want to tell only to you. Please listen. Another unknown legend of the Triforce, passed down by the Shadow Folk, the Sheikahs. If you would seek the sacred triangle, listen well. The resting place of the sacred triangle, the sacred realm, is a mirror that reflects what is in the heart. The heart of one who enters it. If an evil heart, the realm will become full of evil. If pure, the realm will become a paradise. The Triforce, the sacred triangle, it is a balance that weighs the three forces: power, wisdom, and courage. If the heart of the one who holds the sacred triangle has all three forces in balance, that one will gain the true force to govern all. But if that one's heart is not in balance, the Triforce will separate into three parts: power, wisdom, and courage. Only one part will remain for the one who touched the Triforce, the part representing the force that one most believes in. If that one seeks the true force, that one must acquire the two lost parts. Those two parts will be held within others chosen by destiny, who will bear the Triforce mark on the backs of their hands. Cool lore, bro. 7 years ago, Ganondorf, the King of Thieves, used the door you opened in the Temple of Time and entered the sacred realm. But when he laid his hands on the Triforce, the legend came true. The Triforce separated into three parts. Only the Triforce of power remained in Ganondorf's hand. The strength of the Triforce of power enabled him to become a mighty, evil king, but his dark ambitions were not satisfied. To gain complete mastery of the world, Ganondorf started looking for those chosen by destiny to hold the other Triforce parts. The one who holds the Triforce of courage is you, Hayden. And the other, who holds the Triforce of wisdom, is the seventh sage, who is destined to be the leader of them all. It is I, the Princess of Hyrule, Zelda. Wait, you mean to tell me I've been crushing on a woman this whole time? You know what? I'm okay with this. I apologize for meeting you in disguise, but it was necessary to hide from the King of Evil. Please forgive me. On that day 7 years ago, Ganondorf attacked Hyrule Castle. I saw you as I was escaping from the castle with my attendant, Impa. I thought I should entrust the Ocarina to you. I thought that would be our best chance. As long as you had the Ocarina in your possession, I thought Ganondorf could never enter the sacred realm, but something I could never expect happened. After you opened the door of time, the Master Sword sealed you away in the sacred realm. Your spirit remained in the sacred realm, and then the Triforce fell into Ganondorf's hands. He went on to invade the sacred realm. Ganondorf had become the evil king, and the sacred realm became a world of evil. All of this is an unfortunate coincidence. I passed myself off as a Sheikah and hoped that you would return. I waited for 7 years. And now you're back. The Dark Age ruled by Ganondorf the Evil King will end. The 6 sages will open the sealed door and lure Ganondorf back into the sacred realm. I will then seal the door to the sacred realm from this world. Thus, Ganondorf the evil king will vanish from Hyrule. Hayden, in order to do this, I need your courage again. Please, protect me while I do my part. And here is a weapon that can penetrate the evil king's defenses. The power given to the chosen ones. The sacred arrow of light. You got the light arrow! Way to make the ice arrows even more obsolete. Set it to sea and your arrows will be powered up. The light of justice will smite evil. That rumbling! It can't be!
Princess Zelda, you foolish traitor! I commend you for avoiding my pursuit for 7 long years. But you let your guard down. I knew you would appear if I let this kid wander around. My only mistake was to slightly underestimate the power of this kid. No, it was not the kid's power I misjudged. It was the power of the Triforce of Courage. But, with the Triforce of Wisdom that Zelda has, when I obtain these 2 Triforces, then I'll become the true ruler of the world. If you want to rescue Zelda, come to my castle.
Oh, that rotten Ganondorf! We will have our vengeance! So yeah, Sheik actually being Zelda, probably one of the most well-known twists in any video game at this point. I tried my best in order to keep it as mellow and hidden as possible, so I hope a lot of people appreciate that. Still, for its time, a pretty cool twist. Definitely interesting to see a Zelda taking more action in the narrative, and it was certainly very cool seeing the little interaction she was having with Link over the course of the story. But yep, Zelda's now captured. So we have to go to Ganon's castle now to save her. Thankfully, we have the power of the sages on our side.
Hayden, can you hear me? It's Roru the Sage. We 6 will gather our power to create a bridge to the castle where Ganondorf dwells. The castle's keep, which is known as Ganon's Tower, is protected by 6 evil barriers. Bring down the 6 barriers and save Princess Zelda!
Well, that's a Bifrost if I ever saw one. Also, I just love how this bridge looks in the 3DS version of the game. It's just so ornately designed and so pretty. I love it. But yep, now that we have cleared these 6 dungeons, we are finally able to go forward. Woo! Welcome to Inside Ganon's Castle, the final dungeon in the game. It's got some BMOS over here right away. We can just sneak past these guys and head over in here. So the way further into the castle is blocked by this barrier. There's no way we can get through it without the help of the sages. So all throughout this room here, we have a couple of doors, each representing one of the sages that we have helped all throughout our adventure. And we're going to be going through all of these areas in order to open up the barrier leading into the final confrontation with Ganondorf. Very quickly, there's one of these areas I want to visit above all others, and that is the Shadow Room. So this area is going to be pretty important, especially with regards to what we're going to be doing here. So very quickly, we can see in this room. Well, we can see that there is a torch over there. So we're going to want to hit you with fire arrows. Once again, why do we even have ice arrows? There is no use to these things. So hitting that will cause this to open up. We have some platforms here. I want to quickly open up this chest. Gives us some blue rupees. I believe that is an indicator with Navi that is an area we can... that we are able to... Song of a time in order to make a block appear. Just want to hit this again. I really gotta be in there. Just very carefully maneuver past this guy. And then look, we got ourselves a lifeline. This was one of the most trollish like placements in the entire game. If this thing grabs you, it can spit you out over the ledge, which will cause you to lose any shield or tunic that you have equipped. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about losing our mirror shield, as this thing is a permanent upgrade, and we cannot lose it. But you do want to be careful with these guys. So I believe we can crack open these pots to get some more magic. And... alright, we have another thing over there to do. Alright, so we're going to want to hit this torch again. Alright, a bit lower. So by hitting that, we should be able to go forward. It would be very good if we... So you can see over there, there's a switch we can hit. I'm actually thinking we want to grab that one first. Will we even be able to hit the torch from here? I think so. Just give me a few chances with this. Yep, there we go. So yep, this is on a time limit, but we should be pretty good. Just need to hop over here and hit that switch. Whew, very close. But by hitting that, we're able to open up this chest here, which contains something very useful to us. You found the Golden Gauntlet. You can feel even more power coursing through your arms. Grab with A and lift stuff up. This, again, kind of a neat power-up, but also one that is not really that necessary. I mean, it is necessary to beat the game, but the thing with this is that the Golden Gauntlets, you only need to use like 3 times in the game. And after that, you don't have to use it anymore. So it's just kind of a weird power-up at this point, especially because we just got the Silver Gauntlets, and these things just completely make those obsolete. So yeah, kind of weird. But it is necessary that we grab these things, as we are going to see in a bit. Just get on over here. Oh, there's a torch over here we could have hit. Dang. But now that we done all that, we can go in here and bust open these pots to get some arrows and some magic. Alright, so it's time for light arrows. These are pretty much just a much stronger version of the arrows we already have. But they are darn good. I would say they're probably the best damage-dealing item we have besides the Begoron sword. The shadow barrier is dispelled. Please save the princess. Yes, we shall, Impa. So by doing that, We are teleported back into the central chamber. And the shadow beam is destroyed. So at this point, we're pretty much able to do the remaining chambers here in whatever order we want. As you can see here, there is this big monolith here in front of one of the rooms. But now that we have the golden gauntlets, we can pick this sucker up and toss it away. Very nice. We could go into that room right now. However, now that we have the golden gauntlets, there is something we are able to do outside of the dungeon. Yeah, this is kind of a weird little bit of the game, but bear with me for a second. So we want to leave Ganon's tower, and we want to go a little bit further into this area, past this little bridge here, and past all these boulders lying around. So go all the way here, there is yet another stone pillar like the one we saw inside the castle. So let's go ahead and lift this baby up. Whee! And that opens up a little cave for us, with another Great Fairy's Fountain. This is the last Great Fairy's Fountain that can be found in the land of Hyrule. And it has a darn good reward, so be sure to pick this up. The last time I get to stare at these wonderful polygonal beauties. Welcome, Hayden. I am the Great Fairy of Courage. I'm going to enhance your defensive power. Receive it now. Your defensive power is enhanced. Your defensive power has been enhanced. Damage inflicted by enemies will be reduced by half. When battle has made you weary, please come back to see me. It's quite nice that we get this power up at this point in the game. Even though we only have a couple more enemies in order to defeat, it's still very nice that we get a defense boost. It's definitely very helpful. So with all of that taken care of, that is pretty much the last main power-up we are getting throughout the game. We now have every last item that can be obtained, every last piece of equipment, every last quest important upgrade that can be obtained. There is nothing left for us to do but complete Ganon's tower. Just gonna go ahead and save here, just so that I have a point where we have everything that we could possibly need. Alright, so for the rest of the challenges here, I'm thinking we'll do this in counterclockwise order for the remaining rooms. So let's start off here in the forest room. It's got another Wolfos here to deal with, but we dealt with plenty of these guys. We know what to do. So that triggers a chest to appear. And inside, we get a blue rupee. Very good. Well, we don't really need rupees at this point, so that's pretty pointless. Alright, so for this room, we got a couple torches we need to hit. So we'll use Din's fire to ignite that. And then with our fire arrows, we can shoot that last torch, opening up the path forward. Very nice. Ooh, so this room has some Shadow Temple elements to it. So we're definitely gonna want our hover boots here in just a sec. And also we want our ocarina, because we can Song of Time here in this spot to grab something. Alright, let's wait for that fan to stop blowing and then we can grab this. Alright, we can grab that one. Alright, so thinking if we go about here, yep, that blows us over into that platform. Very good. That guy's kind of in an awkward spot, isn't he? We might be able to bomb you. I think it is possible that we could light arrows this guy, but nah, bombs are still like the best way for dealing with these things. Alright, so for this spot, thinking... So I'm thinking for this one we might want to Song of Time again. And while we're just kind of going through these challenges here... Okay, that was useless. Okay, I think I know what we have to do there, actually. And yeah, while we're just going through these challenges, I want to talk a little bit about what we learned about the Triforce based on this game. It's quite interesting how the Triforce establishes having this failsafe in case someone who does not have their properties in balance would not be able to use the Triforce to their full potential. They'd only receive fragments of the Triforce, which is actually canon to the lore as we knew it at this point. Because this is not the first time in the series that the Triforce has been separated into different segments. All the way back in the very first Legend of Zelda game, the plot hinged around... Okay, this is getting ridiculous here. So the main plot of the game hinged around the Triforce being split into separate segments. Ganon had control of the Triforce of Power, and was seeking the Triforce of Wisdom, which Zelda had scattered all across the land of Hyrule, and Link was sent in order to recover the piece of the Triforce of Wisdom in order to be able to bring them back to Zelda after he freed her from Ganon. Okay, seriously, what am I missing in this room? Am I supposed to... I have truth here. No. Okay. So I'm thinking that switch might actually have something to do with this. Okay, I'm just trying to get my bearings back with this area. But yeah, that's pretty interesting how we already had it established that the Triforce could be separate into different pieces. And how the Triforce of Power and Wisdom were prominently featured in the first game. And then the next game in the series, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, actually introduced the Triforce of Courage in order to have 3 different Triforce pieces all throughout the 2 games. Ah, jeez. Alright, got to do all this over again. But yeah, I really like that. It's a nice way of blending the previously established lore from the early games into this one, where they are trying to put a lot more emphasis on the nature of the Triforce and how it functions. Which is quite cool. Let's get you to stop blowing, please. Thank you. And I also think it is cool with what was established in the early games, how A Link to the Past also helped build on the concept of the Triforce, because that game established like the full version of the Triforce when all three segments are together. And when they are together, that allows the user to unlock their full power. And also how that game also established the rule that whoever claims the Triforce would also gain the ability to change the state of the Sacred Realm. The Sacred Realm would look like a paradise when someone good wields it, and it will look bad when someone evil claims the Triforce. Which was why the Golden Land becomes the Dark World in that game. And how Link finally obtaining the Triforce in that game sets things back to normal. So yeah, they do a really good job of taking what's previously established with the Triforce and building upon those previous ideas. Another reason why this game is so dang important to the lore of this series. Alright, so now we can shoot this little guy with our light arrow. Oh man, sorry, I'm so sorry about that arrow placement. The forest barrier is dispelled. Hurry up, Hayden. Okay, don't have to worry about you getting shot now. So sorry. Alright, so that is the second barrier down. So now we're gonna head over this way to the water room. So go in here. Oh boy, we're gonna need blue fire to go forward here. It's got some more freeze arts to deal with. Could handle these guys pretty easily with our fire arrows, but we can also do this. Ah boy. So we're not currently weak enough where I feel like using my blue potions. I wanted to have this very handy in case I ever came to a situation where it would take fatal damage, but we're gonna have to use this here. Kind of a shame. Let's go ahead and break this opening here. And we can grab what's inside this chest, which is a booby trap. So yeah, probably expect a few more traps like that going forward. Does this chest have anything? Recovery heart, I'll take it. Helped heal up the damage we took before. And we might be needing some more blue fire, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that. Alright, we got ourselves another little challenge here. So what we want to do is just get to... look here. Yeah, we gotta get up there. So I'm thinking with this room, we need to push these blocks in a certain order. And I believe we want to push that block down there. Then we can take this block. See, I know this is the water room, but it obviously takes a lot more elements from the ice cavern, which I find kind of interesting. Oh, we have a spare fairy in this room, which is actually quite nice considering what they make us do here. We can go ahead and grab... We can climb up here. And I can open up this wall. And looks like we're going to need our hammer for this part. And that will unlock the door forward. I'm still on the timer. Wow. Is the fairy still here? Because I kind of need that. Okay, I really hope that That's gonna stay there. Alright? And let's go grab the fairy. Come here. Get over here, please. There you are. Alright, so that wasn't too bad. We had to release a fairy to gain a fairy, but that wasn't too bad. Alright, let us recover supplies here, if we have anything to recover. Alright, that's good. And let's shoot the ball! Hey look, it's my fiance! The water barrier's dispelled. Hurry up! You mean hurry up in defeating Ganondorf, or hurry up with our marriage plans? Well, that answers my question. So that dispels another barrier for us. And the next one would have been the Shadow Room, but I've already taken care of that in order to get the gold gauntlets. So let us head on over to the Fire Room. Hey, it's so hot in here. We can't stay here for long. So got ourselves another room that is going to require the Goron Tunic to proceed onward. Also, something that could be useful here, I believe if we have the hover boots. Yeah, with the hover boots, we can stay on platforms like this without having to worry about it sinking. Well, that one's going to sink. But one of the main gimmicks of this room is that the central platform here will sink into the lava as long as we are walking on it. It will return to normal, however, whenever you are off it. So you want to be very careful through here, or just equip the hover boots, and so you won't have to worry about falling that way. We can get up here, and then climb onto this ledge so that we can move this pillar. So yeah, we have a room here that requires the use of the golden gauntlets in order to be able to complete it. Which is why I wanted to do the Shadow Room first, obviously. Let us get on over here. Then we have one last spot for us to do here. Alright, this Torch Slug is really not going to give us any trouble. Then we can just hover over here. I think for this part, I might actually switch out of our hover boots. I'm gonna grab that and then quickly jump back on over here. Woo! Very good. And then we should be able to... That's too far. Okay? Let's get our hover boots on so we don't have to worry about this sinking. And then we want to stand about here, and then we can long shot across. Alright, very good. That was a pretty painless trip for the Fire Room. I hate to say it, but the previous times I have been through this particular room, it has been a little bit of trouble. Where I would typically misjudge my jumps, and I would find myself falling into the lava and have to reset the entire room. But that was pretty painless. Whoa, Beefcake!
The fire barrier's dispelled! Hurry up, brother!
Yes, sir! So a little thing you probably have noticed by this point in the game, but I really like the fact that out of the 6 sages that we have managed to meet over the course of the game, only 2 of them are male. I quite like that the vast majority of sages we meet over the course of the journey are female. It's a very nice change of pace. So I believe that is a invisible big Skulltula. So all throughout this room, we have a couple of invisible enemies to deal with. Defeating all those guys makes a chest appear in the center of the room. Also, there's a lot of chests in here, so we're definitely going to grab everything we can. Yeah, I know most of these are going to be booby-trapped, but, you know, gotta take the good with the bad, you know? Nice, there are some arrows in that one, so that was nice. Since we are at this point in the game, something that I think would be nice for me to do at some point in the future is to stream a Ocarina of Time randomizer, since I know those are pretty popular. I'm not going to do one on Twitch because I've already covered this game on this channel, but I feel like I could do one for YouTube. It's like, I know I haven't done any YouTube streams at this point, but I feel like it'd be nice to try sometime in the future, you know? I've definitely been thinking about doing some content on YouTube for quite a while now. And even thinking one of my big plans for later in the year will probably be a YouTube stream. So it'll be nice to kind of branch out and have other places where I can post my content. So yeah, we have that to look forward to. Alright, so this room has another one of these rooms to deal with. Gotta grab the silver rupees here and avoid these balls. Nice, I think for the last one we're gonna want to hook shot up there. Alright, so we'll just take our long shot up here and grab the last silver rupee. Nice. And that puts us in... Oh, would you look at that? There is a wall master in here. I'm gonna avoid you as much as possible. But yeah, they put a false wall there and a wall master to kind of trick you, but there is the big ball at the end. Let's bust this open. Hi, Raru.
The light barrier is dispelled. Hurry.
Woot!
Sorry, force of habit.
Again, I do subscribe to the theory that Raru and Kaipora are the same entity. They just look so similar, dog. So with that, we have all but one barrier to be dispelled. Sorry that I left you for last again, Noboru, but it's time for the Spirit Room. And once more, we have another one of these challenges. Let's go ahead and blast this Beamos, please. This room has a lot of blade traps that we have to deal with. Just want to move these Armo statues in order to give us more room to grab these silver rupees. Yeah, this one really isn't too bad of a challenge. I got that one, and this one should be pretty easy for us to do there, grabbing us the last silver rupee we need. There's a recovery heart here. That could be good to quickly grab. So notice we have a little bit of an error here, so just give me a second to make sure things are good. Yeah, I think we're still good. That was kind of weird. Alright, really hoping our connection is still strong going forward. Alright, we got some torch slugs that we can easily take out here. Oh, would you look at this? So we have this switch over here, which we can spin attack to make a chest drop down. And by grabbing this, look at that, Bonchu. This is like the second time throughout the game where Bonchus have actually been required in order to progress. So want to stand here and drop a Bonchu so that it goes through that hole in the top of the grate, allowing us to go forward. Yeah, kind of weird that we've only really needed Bonchu in 2 areas of the whole game. It's kind of funny. So this room, want to grab our fire arrows. Once again, what's even the point of ice? And we can shoot that webbing up there, allowing us to shine our light upon these switches. Oh, wrong one, wrong one! You can tell what's going to be dropping down here. See, I'm hitting a wrong switch will cause a wall master to appear. Just let the guy fall and should be good. Alright, that opened the way forward. What about this last switch? Oh, that's nothing. Let's just move on. Completely ignore the giant zombie hand that's gonna grab us. And then that is the last of the barriers we need to break. Hi, Naboru. The spirit barrier is dispelled. Hurry up, kid. Yes, ma'am. So that is the last of the barriers down. And with that, the way is now open. So an interesting little tidbit about the development of this game. I believe originally it was conceived that the entirety of the game was actually going to take place inside Ganon's tower. And it would have you traveling to the various dungeons in the game, kind of like we are doing in here, where we would go through a certain door in order to enter the Forest Temple, and so on. Kind of like how things worked in Super Mario 64. But they ultimately scrapped that idea, and we went with the more open world that we got to see in the final product, which I do quite like. It is nice that they took that approach with this game rather than the other one. But we are almost at the end here. Only a few more trials remain before we can finally face the King of Evil himself. Ooh, actually, let's grab these arrows. This would be good. I'm gonna completely ignore you because we don't need to fight you. So go in here. Which, look at that, we actually got some Dinalphos to fight. Just like the ones we saw in the Gerudo's training grounds, these ones can be a little aggressive. They're certainly more fearsome than the Lizalfos were. Which I do appreciate the game giving us some harder versions of previous enemies. And they do quite look fearsome with their spikes and their large underbites. It's a good design. Kinda wish these guys would appear in more games. So with them dealt with, we can now go forward. God, the atmosphere for this area is so good. In this room, we got some Stalfos to take on now. so while we're dealing with some of the enemies around here, thought it'd be nice to talk about some stuff that has been going on. So, very recently this week, I've actually started to play some Chrono Trigger again, which I've been very excited to get to play some more of, because I am very far into the game at this point. Just to kind of talk about where I currently am at in the game, so I have very recently, this morning, managed to complete the Death Peak portion of the game, which is required in order to get a certain thing that is definitely necessary for quite a few players, I would say. Don't want to go too far into spoilers, but it's a very cool scene in the game, just very cool. And by being the Stalfos, we get the boss key, which we're gonna need for fighting the big man at the top of the tower. But yeah, also in Chrono Trigger, I have very recently managed to get started on one of the more infamous segments of the game, which is, ow. Man, I'm very happy I have plus defense right now. So I'm currently doing one of the more infamous aspects of the game, which is the Lost Sanctum portion of the game. I know it's widely considered like one of the worst segments of the game, but I don't know, it's okay at this point. And it'd be nice to gather some more experience and resources before we head off to the final battle with Lavos, which I will be doing in a bit. I still got some more of the late game content to do, like a lot of those kind of side quests, in order to be able to complete a lot of character stories and also get ourselves some new equipment that will help us for the final fight. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the amount of progress I'm making in the game at this point, and I should hopefully be finishing up the game this week. Especially because I'm going to be taking the rest of this week off of streams after we finish this, so yep, that'll be definitely exciting. So, I am so happy that I've finally been playing this game, because it has just been a treat. Easily one of my new favorite games of all time. By beating those giant iron knuckles, we have now made it to the last chamber. We got pretty much everything set. Also, let's switch back to my Zora tunic. I don't know why I still had my Goron on after the fire room. Let's do this. So we enter the main door, this giant pillar in the center, and we have a couple jars over here. I highly recommend not breaking those now. So those are going to be useful for something a little bit later, if we actually do end up needing them. Aw, man, the mood here. Just the atmosphere is so good. Just the long climb up the stairs, the organ music in the background. God, it really does a good job setting you up for what's to come. So, some advice on what you should have going forward. Highly recommend having your bow at the ready. Also good to have some magic replenishing resources. Let us go through. Well, that's new. So at that moment, you actually get your health fully replenished, which is quite nice. Hey, don't stop playing. You were doing pretty good, man.
The Triforce parts are resonating. They are combining into one again. The two Triforce parts that I could not capture on that day 7 years ago. I didn't expect they would be hidden within you two. And now, finally, all the Triforce parts have gathered here. These toys are too much for you. I command you to return them to me!
Hayden, I can't help you! Because of the ways of darkness, I can't get close! I'm sorry, Hayden! Well, we're not gonna have Navi's help here. Great King of Evil, Ganondorf! At long last, we get a square off against the man himself. So if you're familiar with the battle against Phantom Ganon, this battle should be immediately familiar to you. Simply repel his magic attacks back at him. Once he gets stunned by his magic, shoot him with the light arrow. That will bring him to the ground, allowing you to fight the Demon King himself. I believe between your sword options, the Master Sword is actually recommended here. I believe it is statistically going to do more damage to Ganondorf compared to the Vigoron sword. So yeah, this fight is quite interesting. Definitely pretty formidable and has had a lot of build-up up to this point. It's just a cool confrontation. Kind of plays very similar to how things did in A Link to the Past when you confronted Aghanim. But hey, the Zelda series is pretty good, consistent when it comes to reusing previously established segments. Man, I am really struggling here and I don't like that. But yeah, one of the difficult parts of this fight is that we do not have access to our Z targeting due to Navi being removed from this battle. But it's not too bad, all things considered. Ganondorf is a pretty sizable target, so you don't need to worry too much about not being able to hit him. Also, as a little warning, just be very careful about where you are positioned during this fight, because the blocks that make up the floor, Ganondorf can knock them down, giving you less places to be able to stand during this fight. So definitely keep that in mind. Okay, when Ganondorf begins charging this up, prepare a spin attack. When he fires it, release the spin attack into him, and that will stun him. Very nice. I just love whenever you're able to counter that attack. It is so freaking cool. And we're done! Woo! Good stuff.
The great evil King Ganondorf, beaten by this kid? Hayden!
So fun fact, in early versions of this game, Ganondorf actually spat out red blood in that moment. They sense it in future releases, and I don't really like it. It just looks like he's barfing. Ugh. But we've won. Hey Z, what's up? Ganondorf, pitiful man. Without a strong, righteous mind, he cannot control the power of the gods, and... Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good! Hayden, listen to me! This tower will collapse soon! With his last breath, Ganondorf is trying to crush us in the ruins of the tower! We need to hurry and escape! Please, follow me! So we got ourselves an escape segment. We have 3 minutes to escape from Ganon's tower. Follow close to Zelda and you should be fine. She will stop periodically, but as long as you are close to her, you should be fine. Ow! I do not appreciate that happening during the cutscene, but at least we didn't take damage. Hey, Z. Just gotta be real careful here. Just watch for the shadows of the falling boulders, and you should be good. Alright, that's another gate up. Honestly, the segment isn't too bad. There are a few moments you gotta watch out for, like jumping across these platforms. It's not too bad. Open up that door for us. Now I want to maneuver past this debris. We got this very narrow pathway to walk across. And that should take us back into this room. Don't worry, Zelda, we're almost... Oh, come on! So adding to the timer, we got some Stealthos we need to take out before the end here. So gotta be sure to take both of these guys out before the end. And once you know it, these guys are also on a timer. Gotta take them both out quickly, otherwise they're just gonna keep coming back up. Come on, buddy. There we go. Thank you, Hayden. Now let's hurry. Aw, it's very nice of her to drop some hearts for us. I do like them emphasizing in this scene that Zelda does possess some magical abilities, with her supposedly levitating the bars using some psychokinetic abilities. Supposedly her magic does come from the Triforce of Wisdom she possesses, but that can't be all. Like, considering what we learn about Zelda in some of the later games, she definitely has a lot more going on. Alright, so this segment we want to be a bit careful as we're heading down these steps. Ow. There's a few more boulders we gotta dodge here and some more debris. But we are almost at the home stretch. At the very end here, look at what we got. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and... Wow, we don't have access to the Ocarina for this part, do we? Let's take out this Re-Dead here. And then get to Zelda. Actually, I thought I'd be able to play the Ocarina so we can stun that thing with the Sun Song, but apparently we don't. But we are almost out of here. Come on, Zelda. Keep legging it. This was definitely a bad day for you to wear heels. You should have changed back into your ninja outfit. But we are out of here. This was not my fault. This was not built to code. You know, I guess it doesn't matter that Ganondorf doesn't have insurance, considering the fact that he's already dead. But still, how long did it take him to build this thing? And there it goes. Man, talk about making an exit, am I right? It's over. It's finally over. Hey, I'm sorry I couldn't help you in the battle before. It's okay, Navi. Oh! What was that? Oh, I don't like the sound of this. What is that sound? Oh, boy. Let us go investigate. Not good. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Ganon. No subtitles necessary. There's no way he's gonna hold me back again. This time we fight together. Welcome to the final battle of Ocarina of Time. Wouldn't be complete with a battle against the King of Evil himself, Ganon. I really have no idea what his weak point is. Yeah, just, God, everything about this final battle is so good. So we have temporarily lost the ability to use the Master Sword against Ganon. Our best course of action is to use our Bagoron Sword here. But this fight, oh man, it is something. This guy is massive. We can stun him by shooting him in the face with the light arrows, giving us a good opening to strike his weak point, which is his tail. Yeah, this fight, it's something. It really nails just the dramatic feel of finally taking on this monster. After everything we have been through, this is just such a satisfying climax. Also, pretty important for the overall story of The Legend of Zelda, as this is the first canonical appearance of Ganon in this series. And just really feel just the threat that this guy poses. Something that I'll definitely give the N64 version over the 3DS version is this fight kind of loses a lot of its intimidation factor in the 3DS version because of the game's lighting. You can see just how everything is so shadowed here that you can barely really get a good glimpse at Ganon's face here, or most of his details. The 3DS version, it's a much more lighter in its presentation, which kind of removes a lot of the fear factor of this final confrontation. But here in this version, it just has so much going for it. It's just such an intimidating opponent we are facing. They truly capture just the horror of fighting this guy. Ugh. But enough hits will bring him down. Hayden! The Master Sword is here! Hurry up! Let us go reclaim Old Reliable. Use the Master Sword! Destroy Ganon with the Sacred Sword! Of course. So we head back into the battle. And the battle resumes. This time, we have the Blade of Evil's Bane. Let's go ahead and use one of our potions to replenish our magic. Now, the strategy I'm doing with the light arrows is one strategy you can use against this guy. Another thing to do is just to wait for Ganon to try to swing at you, and then somersault under his legs in order to be able to get under his tail. That's certainly a strategy you can use, but I prefer using the light arrows just because it's very convenient and just so awesome to do, you know? It's got that cool factor that really cannot be replicated. But again, this segment also does a good job of adding more context to some previously established Zelda lore. Because until this game, we never got to see Ganon before he became the monster that we all know him as. It was a Link to the Past that first established that Ganon used to be a man, Ganondorf Dragmite. And we only finally got to see Ganondorf himself in this game. So getting to see his rise to power and eventually becoming the monster we all know as Ganon is so compelling. I love this climax so much. It's pretty much a perfect ending to what's already a perfect video game. We're almost done. I'm using my power to hold the evil king. You use your sword and deliver the final blow. Ganon, you really were some pig. But you know what? That's all, folks! Six sages, now!
Ancient creators of Hyrule! Now, open the sealed door and send the evil incarnation of darkness into the void of the evil realm! You! Curse you, Zelda! Curse you, sages! Curse you, Hayden! Someday, when this seal is broken, that is when I will exterminate your descendants!
So long, Ganondorf.
As long as the Triforce of power is in my hand.
It's over. Thank you, Hayden. Thanks to you, Ganondorf has been sealed inside the evil realm. Thus, peace will once again reign in this world. For a time. All the tragedy that's befallen Hyrule was my doing. I was so young. I could not comprehend the consequences of trying to control this sacred realm. I dragged you into it too. Now it is time for me to make up for my mistakes. You must lay the Master Sword to rest and close the door of time. However, by doing this, the road between times will be closed. Hayden, give the Ocarina to me. As a sage, I can return you to your original time with it. Okay, but you might want to clean it out a bit. It's full of my saliva, like, packed full of it. Yep, sorry for ruining the moment. When peace returns to Hyrule, it will be time for us to say goodbye. Now, go home, Hayden. Regain your lost time. Home, where you are supposed to be. The way you are supposed to be. Thank you, Hayden. Goodbye. And that was The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Such a phenomenal game. I'm so glad I got to play this here for the channel. Because every time I revisit this game, it gets even better in my eyes. Just so much that I appreciate about it. Not only for being such a revolutionary game for its time and setting the foundations for not only future Zelda games, but also pretty much every action-adventure game that would proceed after this one. But it just fires off on all accounts. Just phenomenal gameplay, excellent story, such good world building and characters. It is just so amazing to experience time and time again. No matter how many years pass, I'm always fond of this adventure and always look forward to playing through it again. With that said, it's not my favorite of the Zelda series, and in fact I wouldn't even call it the best in the series, because I do feel like later games do build upon the foundations a bit better and tell a lot more in-depth stories and do a lot more with their characters. But for the time that this game came out, it was definitely just such a phenomenal thing for people to experience at that time, and to set the template for later games to eventually perfect. It was just such a remarkable game that even after all these years still holds up in a lot of great ways, and it is very accessible by this point. You can play it right now on the Nintendo Switch if you've got the Nintendo 64 online service, which sure does cost a little bit, but it's not too bad. You can also get on other systems like the Wii or the Wii U and the 3DS version, which I still to this day consider the best way to play the game. I do have a few hiccups with both versions, but ultimately, regardless of how you play it, it's still a phenomenal experience. Just such an amazing game. I will never grow tired of playing through it, and sometime in the future, maybe I will do a randomizer playthrough of this game, and that should be very fun. But yeah, that is where our time here in Hyrule has come to a close. I'm really excited to play more Zelda games for the channel, and we definitely will in a few years. But for now, let's just bask in the world that we helped create, where the people of Hyrule no longer have to fear the name Ganon. It's all these people we gotta help on our journey. Okay, interesting thing kind of experiencing here. So the game footage is actually playing a bit faster than what it is intended to, which is kind of ruining the mood of this scene here with Mido and King Zora mourning the fact that they're never going to see Saria and Ruto again. It's actually really funny the scene is playing out this way. It's not supposed to be like this. But I do really love that shot of the sages that we got to meet over the game, uniting together on top of Death Mountain, looking over the world that they have sworn to protect. It's such a good little moment there. But, just as Zelda said, she has returned us back to our childhood. We are no longer the hero of time. We can return to just being a child. And with her promise to the great Deku Tree fulfilled, it is time for Navi to leave. And the Master Sword shall remain here until the time arises for a new hero. Hello, Your Majesty. Have I got a story to tell you? And that is where the story ends. Ah, man, I know I've already said this, but what a game. This was so good to play again. And what a game to begin our time here on Twitch in the year 2023. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. This has been quite the experience. So I'm going to be taking the rest of the week off when it comes to streams, but we will be back next week for our next adventure. So I will see you then when we'll be taking our first trip into the land of dreams. Until next time, have a good day and take care.